Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that worked for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some. But then I realized that all of my business on connect community and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I'm the Renaissance Mama. Hi, friends. It's me, the Renaissance Mama, and I am so happy to have you here today checking out the show. Now, I can't believe it is December already. Like, oh my goodness, I don't know where the time's gone, but I feel that end of the year coming up. Yes, of course, the holidays are coming, and I feel a lot of stress and pressure and overwhelm to do all of those holiday things that you need to do, check all those boxes, get all the things done. But I also feel that excitement of a year ending. I love having things come to an end, and I love having like a fresh start moving into the new year. I am a sucker for New Year's resolutions and really just feeling energized and pumped and having a plan for the new year. I usually do it in September and then I do it in January as well. But before I can even start thinking about planning or goals or all the things I want to accomplish in 2023, I have to take a moment to stop, reflect, and really take a huge, big picture this past year was. So that's what we're going to chat about today. We are going to chat about doing a year in a review. Now, a lot of businesses will do a year in review and share it for their potential customers or share it for potential sponsors or supporters. And it's a great way to keep connected. It's a great way to really ask the hard questions. It's a great way to be open and honest with your audience. But the year in review I want to chat about today, I want it to be a little bit more personal. So the questions might get a little bit harder, and I want you to dig a little bit deeper because this year in review, it's going to be for you. So for me, I know my year in review is going to really deal with not only business, but my family and my lifestyle and all of those things, because I know it's so intertwined for me. Like being a business owner and a very busy mama, it goes hand in hand. They help each other, they work against each other, but it's so intertwined that I can't look at one and not at the other. So I probably will go back and forth and really look at both. And I think that's important because there's so many times you can look, at numbers for your business or goals that you may have achieved or didn't achieve. But if you're not taking the whole picture into perspective, I think you're missing out a little bit on that. So for me, I want this year in review to be something that really hits home for you. It's going to be something that you can really work with and figure out things for yourself and your business. And then you can have a plan for the new year. Then you can get excited for goals you're going to create. Then you can get super pumped for all the things you want to do. But you need to first slow down, take the time to stop, take the time to reflect, time to know where you, and then you can build on where you can go from. But you also need to take the time to see like what worked and what didn't. And all those little things that got you to where you are, I think are really, really important. So when we are thinking about this year in review, before we even get into it, there's a few things I want you to consider and think about. So the first thing I want you to consider, and I said I want it to be both personal and business, I really want you to consider when we're reflecting and we're asking these questions and I'm sharing you some of my experiences from this year, I want you to consider taking in all of the information. So what I mean by that is I find sometimes, like I said, we get so fixated on, this goal, what if it didn't happen, if it did happen, like all the things, but maybe there's more to the story. And that's what I want you to consider when I say take in the whole picture. Like if you had some family emergency, if you had something else come up, if all these other things, maybe that's why you didn't get a goal. I really want you to take that into the information that you are reflecting on. I don't want you just to look at it and say, I didn't hit that goal. Oh, I can't believe it. I suck. Oh my God. And kind of go down that rabbit hole. I want you to look at the whole picture. I mean, think about it. If someone told you a few years ago that there was going to be a huge worldwide pandemic and, things were going to shut down and businesses were going to have to change and adapt and we'd all be on Zoom calls and, you probably wouldn't believe them. I know I probably wouldn't have believed them, but it did. It happened. So I think really understanding the whole picture when you are creating this year in review, it's important. It's something to consider, and it's something really to put everything into perspective. And that's what the year in review, it's about new perspective. It's about taking in all that information, then building on for next year. The next thing I want you to think about when we start talking about this year in review is I really want you to think about like lessons learned. So if there's going to be things we're looking at, some of our highs, some of our lows, I don't want to just focus on the high and it was amazing. I want to focus on the high and like how did you get there? How did it make you feel? How can we replicate that again? And then a low, like I don't want you to focus on, it didn't happen. I'm upset about this. It's like why it didn't happen. What did I learn from that? What can I take from this information and build? What can I take from this information and make the next year even more incredible? So really, really think about lessons learned rather than like highs and lows and they happened. I feel like that's kind of the difference about this personal year in review rather than something you're sending out just to your customers. The ones you send out your customers, you're just sharing them information. They don't need to know the whys. They don't need to know the lessons you learned. But this year in review, it's for you. I want you to really use it and help you build all your goals for next year. The third thing I want you to really think about when you are doing this year in review, and it's to celebrate everything. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but I think sometimes we get so wrapped up in like number goals that may or may not have happened that we forget we've done a lot of things to even get there, right? So I want you to celebrate, really focus on everything about the details that we're taking in, and then you can go through the whys, then you can do all the things you need to do. But I want you to celebrate the things you've done this year. And it might not look like you thought it was going to look. It probably won't. That's the reality of it. And we're going to celebrate things with our business and with our family and with ourselves and with, like, I want the whole picture in this year in review. It's just not a snapshot of just business, because we all know we're super busy. Our life of business is not an entity to itself. It's combined with everything we do every day. All right, are you ready for this year in review? If you want to grab a notebook, if you want to do some typing, I'm going to throw out some questions for you, and I'm going to share with you as well some of my things that happened this year. 2022 was a big year for me. I had a lot of big ideas and projects. I had some successes and I had some failures as well. But I have learned a lot, and I am ready to prepare and plan and have huge goals for 2023. So let's do this together. Okay, so the first thing I want you to look at for your year in review are your accomplishments. Maybe you set yourself some really large goals this year. Maybe one accomplishment turned into something else. Maybe things adjusted and changed. Who knows? But I want you to really take some time brainstorming all those things that happened to you this year that you are proud of. So for me, one of my biggest goals this year was that I took the Marie Forleo B School. It's one of those things that had been on my bucket list for so long. And it was a huge accomplishment for me because number one, I took the whole course. I really loved it. I learned so much from it. But probably the bigger accomplishment for me was the fact that I paid for it and I invested in myself. I've told you guys before that I'm a little bit thrifty when it comes to money. And I always thought I can do this on my own. I got this, I got this, I got this. But after years of, running these small businesses and really having sort of a small outlook on what I could do, Marie Forleo schools changed all of that for me. So it was a huge accomplishment for me in the business sense because I finally did this thing that I wanted to do. But it was also a really huge personal accomplishment that I betted on myself. I put my money where my mouth was. I had skin in the game and I paid a very large lump sum of money to invest in myself. And from that experience, I know it gave me so much confidence. It gave me a clear idea of what I was going to do. I learned from it as well because halfway through the course, I realized, this might not be the idea that I really want. So in fact, in 2023, one of my big goals is to retake it all again, because that's one of the advantages of the program, but retake it all again now that I have a super clear focus of what I want to do and what's to come for me. And I'm going to share a little bit about that later. Another huge accomplishment for me this year was this show. I had wanted to do it. I knew I really wanted to put out, weekly content. I started off as the podcast, which I love, and that's what I'm all about, but it got picked up by a network, and then I added video, which I also love, and it was just so organic. It made so much sense, and I'm extremely proud of that accomplishment. But what I'm also really proud is that I have continued to produce my weekly content even when life got busy, even when things got tough. That was a promise to myself. That was actually the bigger goal. Starting the show was a little bit scary. Putting it out in the world was a little nerve-wracking, but the fact that I kept at it, that is the huge accomplishment. There are so many people that start things, podcasts in particular, and I think I heard a stat the other day that most podcasts don't even get to 10 episodes. Well, I am at 35 or 36 as I'm recording this right now, and I do not see an end in sight. I'm continuing to grow, I'm continuing to build, but it has been a huge accomplishment for me for this year. Then when it comes to the personal side, how do you see what accomplishments you had in your household or your family or your person? Like maybe you had some health goals that you really wanted. So really take the time to look at that. For me, one of my very favorite things to do is for many years at Christmas time, I would go through all the pictures through the whole year and I would create this calendar for my grandmother. She's since passed, but now I still create the calendar for my mom. And she loves it. It's part of our tradition. But I think for me, the better part of that tradition is the fact that I get to go through all the photos through the whole year. And I get to look at my children's faces and mine, and I relive all those amazing memories. So if you're looking at how can you look at your accomplishments, I am having an issue saying that word today. If you are looking at how you can see that through your personal life, then I say look at all your photos. Go through your phone, see all those memories, relive them. Do it with your family, do it with your partner, with your kids, and really go through those details of oh, remember this was amazing. Oh, we got to do that again. If you can go through your photos and just have such great memories, then it's been a good year. The second thing you want to look at in your year in review is I want you to think about all of the daily responsibilities you have. If you're looking at through a business lens, then think about all those little tasks. Are you getting them done? Are they too overwhelming? working? Are they actually moving the needle forward? So many times as business owners, we do so many things and realize it's not really giving us the results we want. I'll give you an example. So I was really keen in the last quarter to focus on my social media. I wanted to grow my Instagram. I was growing my Facebook. I was putting a lot of content out there, spending a lot of time. And all of a sudden my account was hacked and everything was taken away from me. There's going to be an episode on that one later. And it was such a huge lesson because here I had spent all this time and effort and money to build the social media that literally at any moment can be taken away from you. So I realized that maybe that isn't that big of a daily task that needs to be in my business. Yes, I love social media. I still believe in it. I think it's a really important part of your business, but it was taking so much time from some of my other daily tasks that maybe weren't getting done or not getting done as best as they could be, that it was a good lesson learned that now social media, it's in those daily tasks, but it's definitely not the biggest priority. Also, when you're thinking daily tasks, think about how you feel when you do some of these daily tasks. Like, are there things that you're sort of dreading to do? And maybe that's a sign that, like, okay, it's time to outsource, or really reevaluating if you need to do those certain things. And there are some things that definitely need to get done. Accounting, getting your bills paid, all of that stuff. But is there a way that you can do it that makes you feel a little bit better about doing it? I think that's really important as entrepreneurs to always kind of check in and see how you're doing, how you're feeling when you're doing these daily tasks, because you're doing them daily. You want to make sure it makes sense. Same thing goes with your family and your personal life. What are the things that you do daily? Is it making you feel better? Is it making you feel good? I try my very best to do my daily workout and my daily run with my dog. It's become very clear to me that I need those things. It started as something of like, I wanted to, feel healthy, but then I realized it was about more than that. It was that piece of me that I needed. It was a mental health thing. It was a self-care thing. So it has definitely started and stayed as a priority for me. It's a daily thing that, yes, I need in my life. If I don't have it, I don't feel 100% right. When you look at your family, are there times you're doing too much? I mean, I have totally been that mom who overscheduled their child, or have watched my kids overschedule themselves, joining this team, joining that, being a part of this, being a part of that, helping out. Like, at what point do you have to say, listen, we're doing way too much, right? We want to slow back down and really check in with ourselves. So it's really important on those daily tasks that you're considering how you're feeling every step of the way. And also important to make that time for you, for your family, to make sure that self-care is happening. It's something that we really sort of gloss over, especially as business owners. When we have an extra time here and time there, we think we got to get more done. I got to finish this. I got to finish that. But it's that bigger picture that we're looking at in this year in review. So yes, if we're getting all these things done, life is great, but we know we're not really taking care of ourselves. Maybe we're not being as present as we want with our family. Maybe we're not doing the things we wanted to do on this side. Then the big picture doesn't make sense. We want to look at that big picture in this year in review. So looking at daily tasks, what things working, what's not working, where can we make changes with our daily tasks that make more sense? Is there something that you never get done and you're really supposed to? Maybe you need to have a reminder. Me and my watch reminder, my phone reminders. Maybe it's something that you need that little bit more help with, but really looking at those daily tasks and see what's benefiting you and what's not. All right, so the third thing you're looking at in your year in review is you want to look at your skills and any areas that you can improve upon. So I'm not looking at failures, I'm not looking at things like that, but actually personal skills. And maybe this goes back to some of those responsibilities. Is there some things that you're like, ooh, I wish I was a little bit better at this? Things would be a little bit easier if I could do, A or B or whatever a little bit faster. And maybe you do have the time next year to schedule out, improve those skills. I am a huge fan of just bettering myself. I love reading personal help books. I love reading business books. I love listening to my podcasts. So I've made sure that's been a part of my daily routine, usually on my daily run. I think they both go hand in hand. That's probably why I like it so much. But are there ways you can have that time to really better yourself and your skills? How can you improve on certain things? And I think that goes the same with your health and your personal life as well. Are you making time to improve on some of your, are you saying you one thing, but you never quite get it in? So really kind of looking at that picture of how you can better yourself, better your family, better experience so you feel good is very important. All right, so the fourth thing when you're looking at your year in review, it's to remember your purpose. Remember why you started this business in the first place. Maybe you wanted financial freedom. Maybe you wanted time freedom. Maybe you wanted to be your own boss. But remember why you wanted to do this. Remember who you wanted to help. Remember what you wanted to do. And I think it's a great time to just really reflect on that. Are you doing those things? Are you representing yourself the way you wanted to? I told you before, I started a project this year because I thought it was going to be easy. I thought it was going to be quick. And then I got halfway through it. Actually, I finished the whole project and I started selling it. And I wasn't excited to sell it. And I wasn't excited to support the people I was trying to sell to. So to me, that was a huge lesson learned that this wasn't the project I needed to be working on. So I stopped taking my time out of all the other things I wanted to do, and I pushed it away and I said no, and I saved it for maybe another day, who knows? But if not, I'm okay with that too. And I think that is the key, is you need to know what you're okay with and what you can say goodbye to, because we can't do everything. It's not possible. So you really want to spend your time and focus your energy and focus your best self on the things that you really, really want to do. When you're thinking about remembering your purpose with your family and yourself and your body, it's that same thing. Like if you want to spend time with your family, that's why you wanted to be an entrepreneur, then really look at what has happened this year. Are you going to the events you said you were going to? Are you being present? Do you find that you're checking your phone a lot? Maybe that's going to help you decide what next year is going to look like. Maybe you are going to set boundaries that you can only work to a certain time of day, that your phone can only go in a certain space. I just recently changed up where I had been working. I had loved working sort of in the main level on the kitchen table with all the action going on, but I've decided I don't want that anymore. No, not for 2023. 2023 means work goes up my desk and it's focus time, and that's what I'm going to be looking into. And when work is done, it gets put away. It's going to be closed down for the day, and then I'm focusing on those other things. When my computer was always there, it was like calling me. It's like, hey, come do a little bit more. Oh, quick email, do this, do that. Where if it's put away and it's done, I know that that is how I can just put it aside and not worry about it. So really remembering your purpose and how that reflects and how you feel and with your family will help you create goals and boundaries in the coming new year. So the fifth thing I want you to look at, and I've talked a little bit already, but this is when you're really going to delve into this, is what are some of the biggest lessons you have learned from this year? So I told you my story. I was focusing on the wrong things. I know I am a person that gets very distracted. A lot of things are happening. I like to try and do everything all the time. I like to do the things that I know I'm good at because I think it's going to be an easy fix. And I learned I can't do that anymore. I don't have enough time. I don't have the time to build the business I want to end. I want to spend time with my family. I want to build the business I actually love and want to do. And that's what I want to focus on. So for me, moving into 2023, I have some huge goals. I have some important dates. I'm going to say goodbye to some of those other projects by then. I have put them up so I can see the visual, so I know I am going to make it happen. But I wouldn't have come to that conclusion if I didn't learn some of the lessons I did this year. I don't think I would be as focused if I didn't finally say, hold up, I don't want to do this project anymore. This is not what's making me happy. I want to do the project I've always wanted to do. I want to teach my musical theater course. I want to create it because I know what it can do for people. I have seen the, huge change in children when they learn the confidence of musical theater. I know this online course I am creating is something the parent can do with their child. It's going to be an incredible experience. It's going to help kids in such a fun and creative way. And it's something that I love to do. Those are the people I want to support. Yes, I will still teach some of my courses on how to get comfortable on camera, how to do this, how to do that, because I enjoy it, but it's not going to be my biggest focus. My biggest focus is going to be that program, and I am so excited for it. So that was my biggest lesson from 2022. So this is the time where I want you to really start brainstorming. What were some of the biggest lessons from 2022? Is there some you don't even want to talk about because it hurts? I told you a few episodes ago that I had a friend of mine who didn't make it to her 40th birthday. And it was a huge eye-opener that we don't have all the time in the world. If I want to do some of these big projects, I'm going to do it now. I want to believe in myself. I know I can do it. So I'm just going to make it happen. But I have to set the time and focus to do it. That's the other thing I learned this year. I learned that unless I really set things clearly for myself, I can't expect it to get done. I had always made goals, but they weren't very clear and specific. So moving into 2023, my goals are going to be so clear. They're going to be visual because that's how I learn. That's how I take things in, but they are going to be there all the time. So I know what they are. I'm working towards them. I'm thinking about them. I am dreaming of them all the time, and I'm not doing myself. I know this is what I want to do. I'm going to make it happen. So I want you to take any of those lessons you've had this year, really work them out, journal them out. I've told you before, sometimes that's the best way for me to really get to an issue. If I feel it in the pit of my stomach, like, oh, there's something about this problem. I journal it out. I journal it again. I get dig. I said, why? And I keep answering that question. That's what I want you to do about these lessons learned. Think about that. It goes the same for your health. It goes the same for your personal life. It goes the same. What are some lessons that you learned this year? I had some goals in terms of like my weight, and I feel like, okay, I didn't quite get there. But my biggest lesson learned for this year was that I think I was not giving my body the nutrients it needs. I think I was so fixated on certain things that I can't really control, but I need to go sort of back to the drawing board and work with somebody to figure out what is it that my body needs. So that's something else that I'm definitely looking at in 2023. But look at those lessons you learned, really break them down and see how you can use those lessons to help this next year be so amazing. Okay, so the sixth thing I want you to think about in your year in review is really think about the people that have affected you this year. Are there relationships that really worked within your business? Are there relationships that really worked in your life? And build them from there. Maybe there's people you're missing. I did an episode a few weeks ago about building those business relationships. Really kind of think about who you're missing in your circle that will help you build your business. You can help others build the business. Do you have your accountability partner? Do you have a mentor you really connect with? So really think about the people this year that you know, what worked, what didn't, but also where you're missing things. And then I would start brainstorming some people that you want to connect with in the coming year. year. Maybe you do need a mentor that has done something similar to your business and you want to chat with them. Who knows? All you can do is ask. All you can do is try, right? So make that list of who you really want to connect with coming into the new year, who you connected with this year, and also know that sometimes it's okay for relationships to just not stay as strong. It's okay for things to fizzle out. You might be moving into a new season. You might want some relationships to really help focus on next. When it comes to personal other things as well, I believe it's the same. Think those people this year that you were able to spend your time with. Think those memories, go through those photos, and then think about who you want to spend more time with. I've told you before that I kind of am sad that my kids don't spend a ton of time with my dad. He's really busy, and I know one of the lessons I learned this year is if I want to make those special moments happen, I have to organize it. I have to, make the plans. I have to get everything all together. And sometimes it's pushed down to the bottom of my list. But if I want it to happen, I've got to set the time to make it happen. So think of even people in your personal life that you're like, oh man, I want to reconnect with that person. I haven't heard from them so long. I want to know what's happening with them. So create that list. Really, really think about who you're going to connect with in the new year, and then make time.
Hi everybody, welcome back. This is The Blaze on the FiredUp Network. Remember, hit that subscribe button to join the FE movement. I'm here with my girls, and we're about to get right into it. So before we start off, how was everybody's week? Shauna?
Oh, I'll start, yeah. You know what? It's been a pretty good week. I was sick a couple weeks before that, and finally I'm better, so it was good. And today was crazy because I saw a fox running in the schoolyard of my daughter's school. So that was the end of my day today. It was really weird, but crazy. Good. Yes.
Martina?
It was good. It was good. I have my tree up. We're doing a micro tree this year. I decided to go tiny, even though I don't live in a tiny house. But yeah, everything's good. Getting ready for Christmas.
Sweet. Samia?
Yeah, it was good. I had COVID last week. I'm much better now. So, yeah, glad. Also, Shauna, I saw a fox today too. It crossed my path.
No way.
It was weird. I had a street last night. I'm like, what?
It was scary.
Last night.
3 foxes so far. Courtney, how was your week?
My week's really good, except I don't want to tell Martina, but we don't have our tree up yet. I'm slacking. I know. I'm sorry, but it's on the list for this weekend. So I'm sorry.
I don't have mine either, Courtney.
Me neither.
This year. I know. I'm really behind.
Who are you, people? I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, Samia looks really upset that you guys don't have your trees out.
Veronica, how was your week?
My week was good, busy. I'm super, super happy to be here with you ladies today. So thank you.
Sweet.
It's been a while, Veronica.
It's been a minute, I know.
A hot minute.
Awesome to see you, V. So good.
Yes, thank you.
So since some of us or most of us have been getting over the cold and the flu and COVID, what are some of your favorite food remedies that have worked for you in the past, or like a recipe that's been handed down from like grandparents that you find really helps you?
Can I kick this off? Because yesterday, obviously before bed, we all scroll through Instagram, TikTok, right? Mindlessly scrolling. And I got stuck. I went down the rabbit hole on this one post where this lady tried putting potato slices in her children's socks. They were sick. And the next morning, children were fine. And she pulled out the potato slice, and it was all like, it looked like it was moldy, like kind of been sitting in the sun for like weeks. And so I don't know the exact science behind it. I've never done this, but I'm going to try this. Essentially, it takes all the toxins out of your body. So it's not something that I've done to cure myself, but it is something that I'm going to do the next time. And I'll let you all know if it works.
I know, I've seen that the onion slices.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, put it on your feet and put socks on and put them to bed. And I'm like,
yeah,
damn.
Yeah, I've heard of onions. Yeah,
Mhm.
like people put it by their bed, and like it's supposed to heal you.
Or just, like, just walk on it. Okay.
For me, I don't really have. I guess like I grew up with sorrel, which is a Caribbean drink. It's like hibiscus flower. I put ginger in it, turmeric, all types of good stuff, cloves, cinnamon, and that seems to always help. Like definitely. And if I'm too lazy to do that, I'll just do ginger and honey, and like boil that. So and that seems to help me.
I want to try that sorrel. I know sorrel as far as you put the rum in it and you call it a day, but I'm gonna try the other stuff now.
No, I don't put alcohol. I mean, you can, but yeah.
Well, kind of along the line you just said, I didn't know it had a name, but my grandma, rest in peace, we did it my whole life. Like pretty much everything you just said, I didn't know it had a name. Hot tea and lemon, some rum, and also with the clove, I don't know if they have it in Canada, but if you go on Amazon, there is a brand called Plant Therapy, and they have an essential oil called germ fighter oil. If you put that bad boy in your diffuser, you are going to stop coughing. Like that stuff is amazing. I actually mix it with some oil and I will put it on my body or on my chest if you have a cough. That stuff is magical. Like it's one of the rare essential oil blends that I've used. It really does do exactly what it's supposed to do. It's basically clove and oil and very potent germ fighter oils in the diffuser, and you're good to go.
Definitely. Well, speaking of oils, I use oil of oregano, and I use that thing like crazy with the dropper, and I'm just doing it like all the time. And also grapefruit seed it's a tongue twister. Grapefruit seed abstract, I guess it's called.
Extract.
That is a tongue twister.
And that's really good too. I find the oil of oregano is better though. I always use that and I live by it. And also to apple cider vinegar. I try to put that in my water, a couple teaspoons every day, just to stay good. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
We're a huge essential oil. If you go in all the time, I don't use that brand, Martina. Same because the clove has everything, and then same the oil of oregano. And I like grew up on that stuff, but I grew up on the health food brands, so you could put a whole bunch in a shot. Where what I have now is so strong, and I tell people I'm like one drop. That's all you need. If you get one more drop, you're gonna be burning and crying and as well. So one drop is all you need. Like you feel it just like down your throat, and it works for sure. That's so much.
I feel like that same big strong one where you put like one drop and it's like I'm burning, but then I was like, oh, let me try this. I'm like, let me put my 20 shot glass of water, and I'm like, and like 3 days I'm burping oregano oil. I'm like, nah, I gotta switch to capsules because it's just like I can't handle the burn.
Yeah, and the echinaceas are good too. I take that every day.
Oh yeah, that is a good one.
And speaking of putting stuff on your feet, I do like the whole Vicks Vapor Rub, but I put it on my feet, and it goes like right to your bloodstream, and it makes your whole body kind of warm up. And I also put that stuff all over my face. Like I look shiny. Like I'm just like, this hurts.
Not burn?
Put it here. This here. Okay.
It's like
I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I feel like Vicks is not as strong as it was when we were kids.
No.
I don't know if y'all have noticed
Not at
that.
all.
Like when I had COVID about this time last year, I was like, this isn't hitting like it used to hit. Like it used to be, you could feel it, like it was like going through your spirit. That menthol was so strong. But now even my 5-year-old is like, Mommy, I don't think this is working. And I'm like, it's not. What is it? They
It's probably not legal back then.
Right.
It probably didn't pass the whole test that it should have.
That's probably it.
That's probably. I also found the same. I don't know if you guys use Tiger Balm, Because if I can't get my hands on the fix, I'll pull up the Tiger Balm, and then I didn't even realize they have like a red version and a white version. Because I've always had the red, and the red is stronger than the white. And then I got a white one. I'm like, is this spoiled? Like, was it so long on the shelf that the color just disappeared?
It used to be red. Now it's white.
It used to be red.
I know, but no, there's a red and a white version. I'm like, oh yeah. Because I remember it used to be hitting stronger, especially when you have like the muscle aches and you put that on there, and then like that menthol. It's like, it's so good. Okay, so do you guys believe the myth that cold weather and wet hair is what makes us sick? So you remember being like, don't go outside without your jacket, you're going to get sick. You better dry your hair and don't go to bed with wet hair because you're going to get sick. Do you guys still believe that myth? Do you think there's some kind of science behind it?
I don't know, actually.
I naturally don't think it's a good idea to go with wet hair. Just in cold weather. Just, I don't know. I feel like my hair is going to turn into icicles. I don't know. But I don't really think scientifically there's any studies that show that it makes you sick. I think just I don't know. I don't know if it really makes you sick by doing that.
See, that's what I thought too. But it's like every time it gets really cold, my nose and my throat gets super, super dry. And then I get that stupid tickle in the throat. And then a day later, I'm full blown sick. And I'm always just like, there's got to be something to this. Like your membrane's just drying out and it's like allowing more bacteria or dirt or to just get back in or get into your system. And then it's always like, okay, now I'm sick. Because and it's just like, everybody tells me, like, no, you can't be cold and then get sick. But like, I don't know though, because it dries out my nose really bad. My throat gets really dry. And then all of a sudden it's like a floof one in and then that's it.
The thing is, like, germs survive in the cold, right? So whereas in the heat, it doesn't as much. So germs are everywhere. So it could have just been that you were in the rain, or maybe you did go out with wet hair, and you just passed the one who was full of germs.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
jumped on you.
I feel like I do it all the time, but I also feel like maybe there is some signs that like your body's being kind of shocked, right? Like if your body's busy fighting, like keeping you warm because you're silly and now you're even colder, then maybe your immune system's down. I don't know. I'm making stuff up. I'm not a scientist.
Y'all look, Joe got jokes. Look at the bottom. Look at the bottom of the screen. Why he got a full blown disclaimer?
Oh yeah.
The views expressed with a shot. Like a fine print, the terms and conditions.
But
well, your head
this is
like
not medical advice.
The coldest place that you like when you're out in the cold, your head is the first place that gets cold. Like if you're not wearing a hat, your head is going to be the place, right?
So you do lose 80% of your body heat through your head. I don't know if that's a real stat, but my dad beat that into my head as a kid, like without like, you gotta wear a hat. You lose 80% of the heat, your body heat through your head. I have no idea if that's true or not. I've never fact checked it, but I heard it so much as a kid that I'm like, we're just gonna go with it. I've just never fact checked.
And I'm like, I know, because I'll see people wearing like the tiniest jacket in negative weather, but they have a hat on. I'm like, oh no, I'm cool, I'm fine. And then you see somebody with like the biggest winter jacket and no hat, and they're like freezing, and I'm like, maybe there's something behind that statement. Maybe.
That's like, have you seen the memes that it's like, it's almost, why don't they have anything on that baby's head weather? Like you ever see a little kid, you're like, why don't they have a hat on that baby's head?
All the
I've
time.
never heard that. I like it.
True.
I think somebody walking around with a baby, and it was, I believe it was Sunday or Saturday, whatever windy day it was, and it's just a little baby in a onesie, and then the wind's blowing in her face and her hair, and she's just like, and I'm thinking, where is this baby's whole ass out of her attire? Where's the jacket? Where's the scarf? Where's that? Where's that?
Put a coat on that child.
Baby's just shivering, looking at me, be like, save me, and I'm like, oh my lord.
Yeah. Well, they say not to go to sleep with your hair wet too, right? Which kind of makes sense. I feel like the water like seeps into your like pores of your head and then like gives you a headache or something. That's how I would explain it.
But I'm also like, isn't it super uncomfortable to sleep with like wet hair? Then your pillow gets wet, then your clothes gets wet, and then everything's just wet.
Yeah, it's not very like pleasing, really.
Sounds like a great place for bacteria to grow. Mighty heat, moisture, pillowcase. The bacteria is like, wee.
Maybe that's don't go to everybody here because you're gonna have a whole village of bacteria. Just there.
I was picturing the bacteria with the way you're explaining it.
The weed.
That's good description.
It was. Did you guys ever watch that Simpsons episode? I think it was Lisa put her tooth in the petri dish, and then it got electrocuted, and all of a sudden it was like a whole village.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then she was their god, and she was like, "What the hell? Their civilization, they're building." Every time she mentions bacteria, I think back to that Simpsons episode. I'm just like, "This is what they're doing. They're living."
Mhm.
Simpsons is very educational,
right? They're just, oh my god, this is how
and they
they
predict the
work.
future.
Right, and every time you think it's
They
like the
do.
furry stuff, and it's like, no, that's just their forest. But do you guys think stress also contributes to getting sick? Like, super stressed out, and all of a sudden, like, yo, you're full blown sick. And like, why or why not?
Definitely. Stress wears down your immune system. Absolutely. So, you know, not getting enough sleep. The more baseline worn out you are, like if you're already tired and sleep deprived, because chances are, it's kind of a snowball effect, right? Because chances are, if you're stressed out and not getting enough sleep, you're probably not eating right, probably not getting right nutrients and exercise and stuff. These things tend to compound. And the germs and bacteria are like, ooh. COVID's like, yes, this looks good.
I mean, that's the reason I got sick, because like I haven't been sleeping. I don't get that much sleep from work, and then work is stressful, and then it's just there's a lot going on, and then my immune system has just been down, and then I got COVID. And it was like, hello, like it was just decided to enter my body or something.
It's like sliding in. It's like sliding in those
DMs.
Body DMs.
Multiply.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any de-stressing techniques when like you feel like you're like in the peak of getting stressed? And like, if I don't calm down or slow down, I get sick. So what can I do to like give myself some defense?
I think this may sound too easy of an answer, right? But I think if we all mentally, and hey, if it works for you physically, sometimes I physically take a step back also. Take a step back and realize, excuse me, this isn't the end of the world. So with me in real estate or design, like if something doesn't happen, if we don't get that home, it's not the end of the world. Like you think about it, like we're pretty privileged. Like I hate to say it, but I also love to say it. Most of my problems, knock on wood, are first world problems. They're very important to me, but we look at Iran right now. We look at Ukraine. We look at the States. We look at up north in Ontario, where First Nations don't have running water. Right? So the fact that me and my clients may not have gotten that home that we really wanted, that we paid 6 figures for, relax. So I think trying to really step outside of the situation and taking a step back and be like, okay, let's fix this. So I think physically I sometimes take a step back and I'm like, okay, let's do this again. Then I get pumped and solve the problem and we're good. And I'm like, oh damn, why was I stressing about that?
Definitely.
That's well said. I agree with you to take a step back and put things in perspective. That you're absolutely right, because I don't know about you ladies, but I feel like you said, Veronica, a lot of the times the stress I'm putting on myself is for situations I'm making up in my head. It's not even what's really happening. It's scenarios. I'm like, what if this isn't happening? What if that doesn't happen? What it's the what ifs? And like you said, you take a step back and you're like, you know what? My phrase of like 2022 has been, they're gonna be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Definitely.
They're gonna be all right. They don't get it. We don't get it. It'll get done. We're gonna be all right. They'll be all right.
And what's funny is I kind of do, it's kind of the opposite. It's like when I get sick, then I get super stressed. It's like, I can't be sick right now. I can't be sick right now. Like I get like really anxious. I'm just like, can this be over? Like, and that can't be good. That can't be helpful. I guess you kind of just have to like let go a little bit and be like, okay, it's going to take its course, and like, trust your body that it's going to fix itself, kind of thing. But I tend to get a lot of like sinus infections. That's my thing. Like my sinuses always get messed up. And so what I do is I use a neti pot, and that helps me.
Oh, neti pots are good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I just like clean up my nose like every day, and I find that it just prevents things. It prevents germs. It's warm. It's inviting. It's and it helps even when you are sick too. So I use those.
I use it a lot for allergies because I have all of the allergies year round.
Like tough ladies.
From allergies, there's just a neti pot.
I apologize, y'all. Y'all are tough, because I tried it and I felt like I was waterboarding myself. I did
do it. I'm like, Giselle, keep going because it's supposed to be good for you.
Y'all some thugs.
I struggle. My daughter to
not waterboarding. We're not.
This is what it feels like. I'm like, oh, I can't breathe.
But I have a
It
fear of
does
water,
pick
so
up.
that's again the what ifs. When I just say I'm making up stuff in my head, I have a hard time with that.
For me, I think it's a good idea. It is good, Veronica, to step back and just kind of look at things in perspective. I do this by playing video games. Sometimes I find with stresses, and I think we all can relate, is that sometimes in life, whether it's job, people around us, we can get triggered, and that affects our emotional and mental health. And so it's you can take a step back, but sometimes it's just there nagging at you. And so I either have to face it, and that's when I have to take that step back and be like, why is this bothering me? And then that usually does help me, because in the end I go through it and then I'm able to kind of just start to relax. But if I want to take an easy route, I play video games, or I have like this stupid doctor game on my phone, and it like literally turns my brain off. Or I go on TikTok and that turns my brain off, and I'm just like, yep, just scroll. That's all I'm doing for hours. So that helps me like relax.
I like that. It sounds like you're kind of just like not stepping away, because I know you said you don't step away, but it's kind of like you're distracting yourself from that by like you going through TikTok or playing your video games, but then eventually you obviously come back to it and deal with it.
Yeah.
So I love that. Huh, maybe I'll do that.
I will say though, I was playing The Last of Us. I don't know if you guys heard of that video game. It's a really popular video game on PlayStation, and I was playing the second one, and it was making me so stressed out. I couldn't play it in that time because I was like, I'm already stressed out. I can't play this and be more stressed out. So
there's certain things in this game where you have anxiety now, and you're like, oh my, and then you're flipping out, and it's like, Giselle, this is just a video game. You turn this off.
Yeah. That's what I did. I was like, I'm done. I just turned it off. I'm going to bed. Like, play my doctor game anyways.
True. It's true.
This is funny because I just thought of this when you were saying your question, being like, just to like you think about it. Do you think there's still such a thing as self-reflection? Because I'm noticing right now when people tell me, no, you have a friend, they're venting to you and they're arguing, and I'm like, so when are you gonna when you actually look at the situation and then try to see it from the other person's point of view, and then be like, why did I feel this way? Why am I being angry? Why am I upset about this? And it's like a process of self-reflection where you do go through a period of self-doubt, and then you know, like you're just processing everything. And I feel like there's not enough people doing this anymore because and I don't know why, if it's because it's just not trendy or anything, or if it's just we're watching too much reality TV where it's just like, yeah, let's just fight this out and fight you. And like, I'm a bad bee. I can like, and it's just like, am I the only one noticing that there's not a lot of people self-reflecting and actually processing these things that happen to them?
You know, I actually think it's happening a lot more now. I think the past generations didn't do that. And I think that's why a lot of our generation, and even Gen Z, if you want to say, are now have so much trauma and like are trying to look back at why they have this trauma. And then when you do look back, you see how your parents were raised, and they weren't self-reflecting. They weren't looking at being accountable. So then that is affecting their children. And I think where the generation after us are starting to be like, why is this, like, now we're finally looking at it.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's happening more now than it did back in the day.
I don't find it. Like, I find people in our generation or older are the ones who are being like, actually, you know what? I went through a lot of trauma. Let me try to deal with this. And I'm finding the young generation being like, no, man, you in the wrong. You did this, you that. And I'm like, and they're telling me a story, and I'm just being like, but you're not seeing where you could have come across a little bit more aggressive than what you think you did. And you're not even trying to be self-reflecting, like, why is there so much anger in the way you respond to conflict? I find a lot of young generations do just kind of skip that whole point.
I think it also comes with age. And as we get older, and, you know, when we're young, of course, we don't look at ourselves. It's like, no, you're the idiot. But I think as we get older and like things are actually starting to play out, from our
so much woke culture. Why are they not doing this?
I have a theory.
Oh, sorry.
It's unpopular.
There's so much woke culture. What's happening?
It's unpopular, but I don't know. Maybe it's because, you know, I come from the South. I come from a long line of very tough
people, tough men and women, women and men who lived through segregation, they lived through Jim Crow, they lived through really tough times. And I think that, and again, this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like our society, primarily because of social media, and I get this is kind of hypocritical because we're on social media, right? Like, I don't want to be that person who's like, man, technology sucks as we use technology. But I think that it has become too sexy to be a victim. Being a victim can get you money, it can get you attention, it can get you attention that you might not get unless you were a victim of some kind, whether that's real or made up. And I think that sometimes it's warranted, sometimes it's not. But that's kind of my theory, that I think that we have made it so that it's easy to have a scapegoat. We're like, oh, that's because of X. That happened to me because of X, rather than maybe it was something I did wrong. Maybe I did play a part in this. It's just easier to point the finger at someone else.
I've never thought of it that way. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, being a victim is too sexy. But that is so true. There's so many stories going around being like, I was a victim of human trafficking. And then you really look back at the footage and all the receipts being like, no, you just got caught cheating. Like, let's let go.
Yeah, like, it's just like the generation, it's all poor me stuff, you know, like poor me.
It's someone else's fault. I played no part in it. There was nothing I could have done differently. Everyone did something to me, rather than maybe I could have done things differently, you know? And sometimes it's a combination of both, but I feel like it's never maybe I could have done something differently. Like, that part is silent.
There's a lot of ego involved too, right?
I feel like I have such a different experience on this, because I feel the older generation are very much like that, and they don't really want to take accountability. And maybe that's just my experience from it, my perspective, because I look at my daughter and she's 14, and her friends, they're constantly like, when she tells me, they're constantly looking at themselves and being like, did I do something wrong here? Did I say something wrong? And I'm like, for me, from what I'm seeing, I'm like, maybe it's just how we raised her and maybe how their parents raised them. But I'm seeing the opposite. Like, my parents don't take accountability for anything they did, and they think they were perfect. And like, even my, friends' parents and things like that. And so, yeah, I see the opposite.
See, I do see kids who are like in their teens still, they'll still do something like, oh crap, I messed up. And then it's just like a gap between like 18 or like 20 to like 29. And it's just this whole, what the hell happened to these kids in this generation, or this gap? Because it's just like all the woke culture, but none of the responsibilities. And it's just like, how are you just throwing out a hashtag and being like, nah, I'm in crowd? And it's just like, well, you had a whole incident where, and again, I guess it's because I watch a lot of YouTube and all these YouTube posters, influencers, and it's just, they will post the most craziest stories. And I'm like, how is this happening? Like, why is this a thing? Like, it's insane. I'm like, there must not be no self-reflection, holding yourself accountable, actually processing and being like, why am I actually so angry about what somebody said? Like, let me go back and work back through my trauma or something that happened that's triggering me. Like, what's triggering me in this whole conversation?
Yeah. I think the issue is people are communicating. The way they're communicating is they're communicating to be right rather than to come to a solution. And like, that's really what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to figure it out. And if you disagree, you're supposed to come to a solution. And people just want to be right. They want to be the right one, So it should be about coming to that solution together, I think, right?
Definitely.
And it's also good in theory. So you guys have heard about Shaquilla Robinson, right? 25, found dead in the city of San Jose del Cabo on the October 29th. And she was traveling to a resort with 6 friends. So supposedly how they got there, talked to them, Shaquilla talked to her family in the morning of the day of the incident, and then they couldn't get in touch with her. So the parents or her mother was calling friends, be like, where is my daughter? Like, why isn't she answering? Why is she answering me? And they said, oh, she's just sleeping. She's sick from alcohol poisoning or food poisoning. To which she said, okay. And then all the friends left. I think it was a couple of days early to go home. And then they find out that she was just left dead in the hotel room. And it's and also, this is where I come back saying, like, it's these people from like 20 to 29 where it's just like, it's like something has been lost in that age gap of the generation where there's something in their head not working. Because it also reminds you of Kanika. I can't remember her last name, where she went to the hotel room with her friends. And then she ends up in a fridge that's not even used, in a kitchen that nobody goes to. Yeah. And then after later, once the friends got home, the video was released of her getting beat up or assaulted in the hotel room. And then later after that, the whole autopsy showed that she died from a spinal cord injury. And we all know when you snap your neck, you don't get medical, you die. So how does that, like, what are your thoughts on all of this?
That case really, to this day, it still bothers me a lot because she was from North Carolina. She's from Charlotte, North Carolina. And the whole state has been in an uproar about it. It's really messed up. It makes me emotional because she was in the beauty industry. And
that too.
Being an esthetician, you know, the girl worked really hard to get her license and start her business. And, you know, that girl didn't deserve to go out like that. You know, I didn't even girl, but just it makes me emotional just hearing how people that you trusted, people that you called friends, do you like that. It's just, I can't imagine how her family must be feeling. Like I've seen interviews with them and they're putting on a strong face. But I know they're having a hard time with it. Like, I'm sorry, it's I know it's kind of crazy getting emotional over someone I didn't know, but I have a daughter and I can't imagine like if I was the mom and that was my child.
Yeah.
It's just like, I hear you on that, because it's just like you're traveling or you're doing something with people who are supposed to be your friends. And I keep thinking again, instead of talking out your difference or doing whatever, your whole force like, let's set them up.
And then that's what I understand. Like I had to reread it, I think 3 or 4 times because I didn't like. I was like, "This, no, that doesn't make sense." Wait, what happened? Like I had to reread it 4 times before it like actually sunk in because it's so shocking. And then that's what it said. Like they set her up. Like what's going on with people? Like it makes no sense at all.
It does, and it feels like it's becoming like some kind of popular trend to take a girl or take a friend or a person you don't like out somewhere and just leave them. And I'm just like, why is this getting popular? Like I feel like there's so much more instance where this has happened where it's just not documented in the news. And like, why?
And the crazy thing about that case is, honestly, if it weren't for social media, we might not even really know about it like that. Because, you know, the people were, you know, tagging the FBI on Twitter and Instagram like, hey, y'all need to investigate this, tagging radio stations. I know I did, tagging the news stations. And like I said earlier, I try not to be hypocritical. That's one of the positives of social media, that it did help to bring light to that case. And I'll be honest, I haven't heard an update. I don't know what the current status is. Does anyone know if anyone has been arrested? Because last I heard, I'm not sure. Oh, they have?
Yes. The main girl who did the fighting, I forget her name now. She's been arrested and has been. That's what I've heard, that she's been sent to Mexico.
Mexico.
But they have to. The trial will be in Mexico. They're being tried in Mexico.
I hope they can get all of them though. I think they all deserve to go down because everybody was complicit in that. I hope they don't just hit it on one girl and the rest go loose. Like, no, all y'all need to go down because that was.
So apparently, one of the people there was Shaquilla's best friend, like a guy, and one of the family friends. So they were the first one that the family called, and he was like, "Oh no, she just has food poisoning, or she's just sleeping off a hangover, or whatnot." And I could be really wrong about this, but I think, but this is also again social media information being like he was one of the people who was reporting, because there was an actual video of her.
Yeah, his voice.
And I was like, she was probably already drunk at this point because she was just getting beat down, and she was just like trying to deflect or just being like, oh, I hope. But it was just this whole videos there on social media. I'm just like, and then again, you do this whole crime and then you put it on social media like that, and then you don't think anything's gonna happen,
right? The thing is, like, I haven't seen the video and I don't want to see the video, but I know someone said in the video like, fight back. And she was like, no. And like, that just shows you the kind of person. It's like, I'm not going to fight you. We're supposed to be friends. Like, you know, like, I can't even fathom going to another country with my friends. Like, I've traveled with Giselle. I can't even fathom where I'm so protective and loyal to my friends and family that like, I would be the first in front of my friends to like protect them. So I'm like, how could you go somewhere and like just beat up your friend because of probably a stupid argument? Like, hey, Giselle, you and I have argued on trips. 10 minutes, like half an hour later, we're laughing. So it's just like, you know what I mean?
Like, I'm hungry, but yes. But I really think they probably got her drugged. They either drugged her or she was really intoxicated, because I did watch the video and she couldn't even defend herself. And then she did. It was a delayed reaction. And around them, like,
and she was naked in that video, which is even more messed up. They're beating up on a naked, obviously somewhat, like you said, drugged or intoxicated girl. And I don't know if this is I can't speak on the validity of this, but I have heard, I don't know if this is true, but it has been said that they also used her credit cards and stole money from her as well. So to me, it came like, from what has been said, it seems as though it was just basically like jealousy, because she was a successful salon owner at only like 21 or 22 years old. You know, the girl had done very well for herself. She was very popular. It really just seems like it was jealousy. And if you ask me, it seems like the whole thing was a plot. It seems like a setup. It's
for sure.
To me, like they all, but which is crazy to me, like to spend money to go to another country to basically off somebody and come back. Like, I don't know how they thought they were going to get rid of that or get away with that. But the whole thing is just a really disturbing case. But I hate when the learning lesson has to be that someone died. But I really hope that, especially young women, like, take heed and just really vet your friends. But then again, like you said, it was someone she had been friends with for like 5 years. So it's like, dang, the people closest to you can be plotting on you. Like Judas, man, they set that girl up.
That's the thing too. It's just like, you think you know somebody after years of friendship, and then something like this happens. Not as drastic, not as extreme as what happened to Shakela in Mexico, but just like your friends being like here, and they're just setting to mess you up.
Yeah, it's really shady, and I feel like these people are taking the opportunity to broadcast that too. Like there's some sort of, you know, glamour to it, to have like it's like a fantasy land, because they're filming it, and you know, and using people that they're in their lives as these characters. Do you know what I mean? Like it's, I think that's kind of the sad part about social media, is that a lot of people don't, they will easily put people out there for their own entertainment, and that's really sad. You know, it's really sad knowing that happened, having my own daughter too. I can't even imagine that. You know, and I just think these girls have to stick together. It was a guys there, like, very beautiful girl too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I'm assuming this, I don't know. I don't think they meant to kill her, if I'm being honest. I think it was like, they probably meant to beat the shit out of her. I think that was it, but I don't think they meant to kill her. But I don't know. I don't know everything. It could be that, because I could see them just wanting to beat her up but not kill her, and then she ended up being killed. But,
which is like, okay, that happens, but it's like, out of all the 6 friends there, not one person like, oh my god, is she moving? Can we call the ambulance? Can we call something? The second they all packed their bags and left, they meant to kill her.
And the thing that messed them up is like lying to her mom. Like one of the girls brought her luggage back to America, took it to her mother's house, and is smiling at her mom's face. Like, how evil do you have to be? Do you know how messed up that is? Like, you know what happened. You're laughing at her mom's face. Like, oh my God. Like, the whole thing, honestly, I think this is one of those cases where, as time goes on, we're gonna it's already bad, but we're gonna find out more. Because I'm with you, Courtney. When I first heard it, I had to reread. I'm like, is this for real? Like, are you really? Is this in modern day? People really thought they could get away with this? Or honestly, I don't know what they thought. I don't think they were thinking at all. But I agree with you, Shauna. That I'm sorry, Veronica. You might want to talk. I'm sorry. I don't mean to devo the time, but it just made me really emotional. Like, you know, at the industry, and it's the whole thing is just like, I know how hard people work to have their own, and again, to have it just taken away like that is for what? What are they going to get out of this? Prison?
And it's like success. It such on success. I mean, you want to be a successful person, but you have to pay this price for being successful. Like, what kind of world are we living where that's happening? You know. I think they were part of some sort of group. Maybe like it was an initiation, or there was a plot, or something. That's what I think. But I don't know. It's a bit too coincidental that all those things happened, and they could go back there so easily and lie about what happened. Like, that's not an easy thing to lie about. Even if you did take part in it and you didn't think that she was going to die, if that really did happen, you would be traumatized. That you wouldn't be able to go back and lie about it like that. I don't think. That's why I think
agree.
They plotted it for sure.
You know what? I feel like me as like the person I am, I could never ever lie about that. But there are people who are so, and they could lie about it. They could just so that they wouldn't face anything. And I think they're so dumb that they thought because it's in Mexico, nothing's gonna happen, and they're gonna lie about it. The thing is, like, especially that video and whoever you sent it to or however it got out, you're sorry, excuse my language, you're dumbass. Sorry,
You're right.
Like, you're
why would you send it out though if you didn't have some sort of glory behind what you're doing?
See, and I do want to play a little devil advocate, but it's just like, what if it was just the person recording being like, I am scared, I don't want to die too, and this is the best I can do now. Because if I report it and then I put it on social media, it will be known.
That's also
like a guilt thing. Yeah, like we could be like, okay, I'm so scared. I also don't want to die, so let me just record this and then post it somewhere later, and then they will hopefully get penalized. Because I did read a couple articles, and Mexico has a warrant out for all their arrests. And I believe the FBI is investigating it, but it's also, we don't know. Maybe one of the friends, she had a really good friend. She was just scared, like, if they're going to beat me up too, and then we're both going to die, and no one's going to get caught for this.
That's
it does sound like the plot of one of those movies where it's, in these types of situations, you see these movies where it probably is a mastermind. Like one person, like, okay, this is what's going to happen, but someone gets cold feet and they don't really want to do it. And that's probably who leaked the video. Because I was wondering about that too. Like, how did that video? We're glad that it got out there. Yeah. But I couldn't help but they're obviously not very good criminals. Like they're, so.
Well, that's the thing. You know what? It might be that they did lie. I think they lied, and it was like one of those things where I lied, but I need to make it right and somehow, and that's why it got out. And they're just being like, I don't know how it got out, but it's like they did it, and I think it could have been one of those situations.
I think it's the other. I think they wanted their 15 minutes of fame. Video, how many hits it's gonna get, see how much, who they're gonna sell the story to, how they can kind of save face after the fact. I don't know. I don't know.
Their names are gonna be passed.
That is very possible. Some people do infamy.
I did see, I don't know if it's true or not, but the girl, I forget her name, sorry, but she apparently was like, if you pay me, I'll tell you what happened. I'll tell you my side of the story. And I read that on, I think it was on TikTok. Someone said that she did that, and I was just kind of like, so you know what? You might be right, Courtney. It might be like they just did that to get their 15 minutes of fame.
Yep.
Which is, again, so I assume everybody has watched the Jeffrey Dahmer actual documentary, not the show, but the documentary. And then I think they also have the Ted Bundy. And the one thing I can't stand about some of the serial killer documentaries, they're trying to make the serial killer personable. They're trying to help you identify. And like, this is a couple of things why I couldn't watch any documentaries. Sit there and try to make you feel really sorry for this person and what they went through and why this, you can like identify them. And then I'm like, if you keep watching this a lot, is this also influencing these people to be like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter if I kill them, because like they're gonna understand where I'm coming from, so I can like low-key kind of get away with it or something, or make me feel better or more justified in doing this because like, yeah, they made fun of me, and my response was to kill them. So yeah, everybody's at, and it's like, do you guys think it's like one of those things?
I understand where you're coming from. I was a criminal justice minor in college, and one of my favorite classes, my favorite class in all of undergrad was serial killers. You too?
No, I just love that for you. I didn't know that about you. That's
yes. Fun fact. I wanted my favorite. I'm a total nerd about this type of stuff, y'all. One of my favorite shows growing up was CSI. What's wrong with me? Something's wrong with me. But I've always loved crime. I know that sounds really weird, but I've always been really intrigued by criminal, like why people commit crimes, why people do these heinous acts. And what you just said, Giselle, like I remember, I'm dating myself, but I remember living through Jeffrey Dahmer. Like when he got, I feel like I don't need to watch the movie and stuff because I remember in real time. I remember when he got caught. I remember, the trial and stuff. And I remember at the time, I was a kid, I didn't understand the gravity of it. But modern day, I'm like, dude, this dude was sick. Like these people are so sick. And the sad thing is, he is a lightweight in terms of serial killers. There's killers that have killed way, way, way more people than he has. Like, I don't know if y'all know about Samuel Little that turned, like he revealed himself just a few years ago. I think it was like 2019. He admitted to killing like 90 women.
Yeah.
I think I have heard this.
Yeah, he like freely, because he was already in jail, and he finally was like, "Yeah, I did it. I killed like 90 women." Was bragging about it, and there's plenty of other killers too that have revealed that they killed a lot more. So to kind of go along with what you were saying, there is a certain sick, twisted mindset that they get off on the attention. They enjoy the infamy. A normal person is like, "That's disgusting. You're sick. You're a monster," and they're like, "Exactly." Like it's sick. It's obviously a mental illness, but I think some people, they don't have remorse and they enjoy it, and it's not normal. It's very sick.
Because I also watched a documentary on Night Stalker, and I think he was Latino or something, but he was a person of color, and they made him seem so sadistic and so evil, the demon. And then you got Jeffrey Dahmer, and he's just a little boy next door. He just made a mistake multiple times and then ate them. And it's just like, what? Like, I'm sorry, what is this? Like, I think you're a serial killer, you should be painted the same way no matter what your race is.
Yeah, but that's the old tale, isn't it? Anybody person of color is a terrorist, a thug, anything like that. Yeah. And then everybody who's, sorry to put race into it, but it's true. And like anyone who's right, it's a mental health issue. And so it's just, it's the same thing. They're going to do it in documentaries. They're going to continue to do that, unfortunately.
Like, I really hope they actually figure out what happened, because there's too many cases where it's Black people and they just like have a little hype and then they forget about it. And I hope to God they keep continuing Shaquila's case and keep like investigating it, because it's like, what the hell? Definitely. And I feel like people will be on it, because they're going to be like, it's going to look bad, because who wants to go to Mexico now when you know you can be dead and nobody cares? And you can be killed. So I feel like Mexico, they had better step their game up and keep doing it, because who's going to want to come to a Mexico resort now?
That's what I was going to say. Because Cabo is one of their biggest tourist resorts, I think the pressure is on for them to get, and that's sad that has to be, like, why couldn't it just be, we care about the girl that got killed? But I'm like, hey, a win is a win. I'll take what I can. If that's what it takes for them to investigate this girl killer and get justice for her family, then it is what it is.
Any final thoughts on Shaquilla Robinson?
It'd just be interesting to know what the background of her friends were. What were they into? What were their, like, just to kind of see where it's coming from.
I feel one of them's gonna also be like a hairdresser and being like upset and jealous. But how can she get more clients and more notes and da da da? And I do hair too. And it's like, probably because you don't do hair good.
More is gonna come out. Like, I can already hear NBC making a docu. I can hear the movie executives. Hollywood is good. Like, this is gonna be a movie in a few years. It's gonna be a show. Like, more is gonna come out about this story. And I feel like once Mexico gets a hold of these people, they're gonna start singing like a canary.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to go to prison anywhere, but I feel like you really, really don't want to go to prison in Mexico.
I know.
I've heard it's horrifying. So yeah.
It is. Well, condolences to the Robinson family. I hope you guys get the justice you deserve, and I hope the story comes to light. And may Shaquilla rest in peace and rest in power.
Yes.
So just to lighten everything up a little bit after all this. So there is a rumor on social media and how J-Lo is going to do a tribute to Whitney Houston for the Grammys next year. And along with, I think, Britney Spears. What do y'all think? Yes.
Okay, now it's my turn to talk. Are you out of this world?
Nope. I think it was J-Lo posted it on one of her social media. So somebody said J-Lo is going to do a tribute. She's going to sing "I Will Always Love You" and some other song.
Okay.
And then there was a
sorry,
but
I
tell you, when I was a kid,
J-Lo isn't the one for that.
Where is Jennifer Hudson? Where is Deborah Cox?
Right?
Are they busy? Like, what's happening?
Christina Aguilera.
Christina Aguilera,
she
does
Jessie J was
Whitney
singing for one of
amazing.
those shows, the competition thingy. She was saying, and I'm like, what about her, Jessie J? Like, what about like?
If you
They
want,
could
if you
have
want
even
someone-
gotten Dolly Parton, who wrote the song. Literally anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
You know who else would be really good?
This is me
Rihanna.
taking
I
a
think
step
Rihanna
back.
would do it really well. Rihanna has a song that sounds sort
We
of
all take a step
Whitney-ish,
back.
and she does it really well. I think Rihanna would do it really well because I mean Christina's done it already. Rihanna, I don't know. Rihanna could. I
don't
think
think
she
so.
could pull it off.
No.
But Christina did it amazing when she.
You
did
need
it.
someone who can hit those high notes. Christina,
Yeah.
'Wasn't
100%.
Christina
there
is like
there's this whole person, her name is Glenda something, and she devoted her singing career to singing Whitney Houston's covers because she sounded exactly like her.
I
Like,
know
she
who you're
was
talking
singing to
about.
the States.
that's
And
amazing.
I'm like, how come you can't get this girl?
Pull her in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think Britney Spears either. She couldn't.
Oh,
do
no.
it either.
No.
But I love how her reason, like, I grew up, and I know this could be
fine.
total fake news, but the post was from Britney being like, I grew up singing Whitney Houston, so I could do it. And I'm like, girl, I grew up singing Whitney Houston too. Doesn't mean I can do it.
Legit, Giselle, get up there.
And like, is J-Lo gonna dance to it? Like, is she gonna like do a dance routine to "I Will Always Love You"? Like, I don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I like J-Lo. She's good at what she does, but just it's not Whitney.
Not
weird. No.
I did read it was fake. It was a fake tweet, and
good.
so
Good.
I'm hoping.
Like,
but I
thank
saw
you.
some tweets being like, J-Lo. So then why don't they get Ashanti and Amarie to do it for her since they sang all her songs?
That part.
Yeah. Oh God.
That part. Even Mariah Carey.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
What
Mariah
about
Carey
Brandy, her
is-
whole ass adopted niece?
Mariah
Well,
Carey
he's
is one of Whitney Houston's last living contemporaries, if we're being real. Because a lot of her contemporaries are deceased. Like, she's like the latter generation. I'm like, yeah, I saw that it was fake too, but even just the audacity to insinuate such. It's like, don't play like that. Don't play with.
That's horrible.
That's true.
No, it's way off.
It's such an insult to Whitney.
It is.
I know, when I saw that, I was like, sit down and walk away. I'm like, I can't today. Not today, Satan. Not today, cuz.
Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Christina does her so well, though. Christina, like,
Yeah, I can see
She
that.
has done a
Wanna
Whitney
let you
shirt
know?
down.
Yeah.
Christina and
she has. I can't remember what awards it was. It was one of the awards.
You're right. It was a few
Yeah.
years ago. I remember. Yeah,
And
she's
she
still
was
at it.
singing live. You could tell she was singing live. Like, there's no lip syncing there. She was like live TV doing her thing. Like, she was.
No, man,
like,
Christina could sing. Man.
she is.
amazing.
But I'm not gonna lie though, I kind of want to see J-Lo do it just to see what happened.
I want to see her bomb.
Remember when Fergie sang the anthem at some All-Star game? And they turned into like a hot remix after from somebody having the time today to do this?
Mm.
You guys not remember that? I'm like, I'm here for it. No, I'm here for this.
Yeah, I just grab some popcorn and watch. I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
let's see this train
It's
wreck.
Neil Baggett's own song again. Just so. It's amazing. And then I have one more question for y'all guys before we get out here. So I don't know if you guys know, Amazon has raised its subscription prices for its Prime membership. It's been raised up to 17%. So I know Canadian dollars used to be $89 a year, and now it's $111 and some change a year for Amazon Prime. And this is on the coattails of Jeff Bezos being like, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, save your money and don't buy the big ticket items because of inflation in the economy. And then Matt had the audacity to raise these prices. But we need to pay our employees more, and it's for delivery fees. I'm like, ain't this the same man who bought a whole ass ticket to space? Didn't you make like $6 billion? So you can't take $1 billion and give back to your employees who made you the billions in the first place? And I was like, Fox.
Yeah. He's definitely got enough that he can spare that.
And that's the thing here. It's like these big millionaires coming here and being like, oh, save your money, do this, do that. But let me gouge out some more money on some prices that you need. Like, let me just gouge on you. Because it's the same thing with, so remember how everybody, like, lettuce is getting really expensive?
Yeah.
Mm.
And then apparently because there's a drought, they're not really growing as much and everything's happening. And again, it's like, so why isn't Jeff Bezos, like, giving some money to get something like a big-ass water tank to go water these lettuce so we can have some lettuce? Like,
Did you know growing lettuce actually at home is very, very easy?
Yeah.
You can Google that just in case you guys really do want lettuce.
Yeah.
It's actually quite
Make that
easy. Yeah, try it.
Cool.
like even most household, like even green onion, like most household products you have, you can keep regrowing it. Like if you buy it once and just keep regrowing
As
it.
I say, the lettuce
Not
can
good.
regrow, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Take a long time from a salad, but you know.
Yes.
Like
Can be
David's
done.
challenge.
Get it eventually.
Yeah.
we-
So what do you think? So I was also reading about the prices for food is going to keep going up until I think they were saying like early next year it should be going down, but right now it's going to get higher and higher. And it's like, what do you guys think about that? Like, do you think like, should we just stop eating anything fresh and just buy cans because it's on sale?
Mr. Noodle is 99 cents, and that I actually some of them are 25 cents.
Mhm.
And it hasn't gone up in like a decade, so I think you're safe there.
Yeah,
We're going back to college days.
Going back
good
to
way to
college
put
days,
things in perspective.
exactly.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you know, I think it's the same old story, isn't it? Capitalism, like the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Like that's just kind of how it is. And I think maybe I personally am a little bit numb because it's the same thing. I think Jeff Bezos can go to space already and leave this earth. So that's kind of what I think about that. But yeah, I know in the UK it's insane right now. It's all like it's the cost of I know it's everywhere, but I know the UK is just like we're sinking right now. So yeah, everything's gone up. Energy, there's people who are like, I have to pick between, feeding and putting on the heat. I saw one TikTok where it was like this British woman who's like, guys, my heating is broke, so I'm gonna go to the Savoy, which is like a 5-star hotel, and I'm gonna take advantage of their wonderful hot water. And then in the next video, the woman's crying, being like, I don't know, I only have 15 pounds on my meter, and I don't know if I should do it for electricity or gas, but I need the electricity to put on the gas. And it's just like things like that. It's like, and I guess you just become numb. If I'm being honest, I'm just like, I can't even. Otherwise, I think I go crazy if I continue.
Do you guys see getting more worse?
Sammy, can you do the TikTok voice one more time? Because that was so entertaining.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I love it because it's so spot on. That's like 85% of TikToks start out like that.
It's so true.
It's true.
Yeah,
Sammy does awesome TikToks, by the way. You do awesome TikToks, Samia. I like watching.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
What is your TikTok, Samia? So we can follow you.
Yeah, it's Samuel L. Jackson. There you go.
I love it. Is that your real name or is that just a play on words?
It's just a play. Yeah.
Okay, because it's hilarious.
Thank you. I went to comedy school, so actually I did. And one of my teachers, he just called me one day. He was like, Samuel L. Jackson, you're next. And I was like, yeah, that goes. I like that.
Like that's it.
Cool.
But to answer your question, Giselle, I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better.
Yeah.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Are we? Yeah.
Probably. Pretty much.
It's pretty sad.
I know. I just had one of the things be like, oh my god, it's gonna be like salt's gonna be $15. Watch.
Yeah.
It's bleak out here, y'all. It's bleak. I have to say, I'm not gonna lie. I am a little salty, as in like elder millennial. I'm like, how in the world, out of all the millennia of history, how did we get to be so unfortunate to have not one but 2 recessions in our adult life? Like, come on, man. Come on now.
And
I know there's worse things that have happened in history. I get it.
Yeah.
You said a third is coming?
Yeah, I think.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was the third one. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe it is. You know what? I'm so strong. Maybe it is. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's like, damn.
Anything could happen at this point, right?
It could.
Sure.
It really could. Just try and take it day by day.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Oh my goodness. Any final thoughts for you guys before we wrap it on up?
Just send
Figure it out.
lettuce. Send me lettuce, people. Lettuce.
Yeah.
The best thing perhaps. I don't know. Anyways. So if you want to go around to everybody thinks find you on social media before we get out of here. Go ahead, Shauna. I'll just go around.
Oh, yeah. I'll start off. You can find me on Instagram at Shauna Brown Music 111 and my website, shaunamusic.com. And also Shauna Brown on all the other sites. And reach out to me. I'd love to hear people's thoughts. So, yeah, that's where you can find me.
Martina?
Hi. Sorry, I have a persistent black girl in the background. I'm Martina, and you can follow me at Slam Host Martina. I'm normally talking about wrestling, but you can also find me here on The Blaze.
Nice.
Yes, go ahead, Veronica.
Yo, I don't know if I'm frozen on your screen, but this frozen on mine, I look hilarious.
You're not frozen. We see
You're not frozen.
Oh, okay, good. Thank God. Okay, you guys can catch me on Instagram is where I am predominantly at V from the agency.
And Courtney.
You can find me at therenaissancemama.com is my website, and on Instagram at Courtney Mama.
Yes. Last but not least, Samuel L. Jackson.
Hey guys. You guys can find me. You guys can find me on Instagram and on TikTok, Samuel L. Jackson.
Sweet. Y'all can find me on Instagram at Giselle.Liu. Don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button, hit to the comments, tell us what you think, and remember, join the FEM movement. Have a nice night, guys.